There are a number of myths about Japan that are all too commonly reported as fact. These myth representation of Japan can sometimes be harmful and lead to unfair. Japanese culture information is widely available, both from books and on internet. It can be hard to know what is accurate. So this video aims to highlight most common myths about Japan. Before start video, to stay updated with our latest interesting videos, make sure to subscribe Myths vs Fact YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button. Number 1. Japanese eat sushi and raw fish. Yes, it is true. They eat raw fish but not regularly with the frequency that people think. That sushi and raw fish are usually for special occasion. And teriyaki sauce is not as much of Japanese staple as many seem to think. In addition, Japanese meals are different from Western meals because they are often served as a set. For example, it's common to eat several dishes together during a meal, such as rice, miso soup, pickled vegetables, and fish. It's a balanced way to eat, and the flavors complement each other. Aside from typical Japanese food, you can also find everything from pizza to French pastries to kebab and Indian curry available for purchase. Number 2. People are super friendly and they love to hug. I'm not sure why, but I've heard this from a few people outside of Japan. The truth is that there are lots of Japanese people who are friendly. However, many Japanese are reserved and quiet. As you get to know people better, they may warm up to you. As a generalization, few Japanese feel comfortable hugging, but many of my Japanese friends have spent time abroad, and they are just as comfortable hugging as my friends from more physically affectionate countries. Also, teens, especially girls, may be more physically affectionate with their friends than Japanese in other age groups. Number 3. Japan is like China or Korea. This is an unfortunately common misconception. It's like saying that Canada or Mexico are the same as America, or that France is like Spain or Ireland. While there are definite similarities, people are people, there are distinct differences as well. The food, culture, customs, behaviorism, politics, and languages in these 3 countries are not the same. I can usually tell Chinese, Koreans, and Japanese apart because people from each country have relatively distinct and unique facial features. Please don't stereotype Asian people groups. Number 4. Japanese electronic toilets are really complicated to use. Well, actually, this one is somewhat true. However, it's more an issue of literacy. What do all the buttons and kanji mean? Since toilets in Japan are not as standardized as in America and Europe, you might be in for a surprise the first time you attempt to use one. However, this handy guide has all the info. You need to make a visit to the restroom as painless as possible. Number 5. Japanese trains are always on time. If you think it's true, you are wrong. Trains are usually expected to the high-speed bullet train. It is usually on time. But bullet train only make a small fraction of train in Japan. Particularly in Tokyo has a serious congestion problem. In fact, Japanese trains are late all the time. The government finally started tracking these numbers and found that trains in Tokyo on the Chosobu lines were late an average of 19.1 days a month in 2017. So most days. Half of these trains were late under 10 minutes and the other half 10 minutes, 30 minutes or more. Delays were often due to suicides. They have to clean up the body. Number 6. Japanese people are depressed. Yes, the suicide rate is high. But it doesn't mean that the average Japanese person isn't happy. It just means that on the extremes, for various reasons, we see more suicides. In a 2016 study, researchers found a small statistical significance between a certain gene polymorphism common to Japanese people that correlated high-stress work environments and the fear of losing job with greater risk of depression. A small correlation, but feeling trapped, a crappy boss, and a host of societal pressure are enough to send anyone into at least a mild state of depression. It's not unique to Japanese people. It's just that maybe there are more crappy jobs in Japan. Number 7. Japanese hospitality is great. You can get into 50% of the hot spring onsen in Japan if you have a tattoo. You can't get into many others if you are foreigner. You can't modify a food or drink orders at restaurant. The menu is set always. It's impossible. They won't let you warm up a cold salad if it's supposed to be served cold. Food safety hazard. Check-in times, check-out times, and meal times follow rigid schedules at ryokan. I am not saying there isn't merit to this approach, but in the West, customer service would be defined as flexibility to have what the customer wants. In Japan, it's we decide what customer service means and push that idea on to customers with zero room for flexibility. Number 8. Japanese students study hard. Japanese college entrance exams are notoriously difficult. There are Jukas cram schools that prep high school students on university entrance exams. But once you get into college, it's a breeze. No, it's a joke. It's well known among Japanese people that university is your time to have fun. It's easy to skip most of your classes and graduate. Lots of companions actually recruit university students their first or second years of university. They pick students at top universities knowing very well that they are going to graduate anyways, since college is for fun. So they race to hand out offer letters regardless of the students' academic results for most of their university years. This is exacerbated by the current labor shortage. Number 9. Japanese food is great. I do love me some unagi, maki, negitora, corn pizza, melon pan, and Hello Kitty tonkotsu. Also, the restaurant Ryo in Odawara is amazing. I recommended dinner over lunch. But a look at the top Michelin star restaurant in Japan for 2018 reveals that they are mostly not serving Japanese food. More than half of them are French and Italian and Chinese cuisine. In other words, some of the best food in Japan is not Japanese. Number 10. Japan has a low crime rate. Japan has practically zero gun homicides and very low homicide rates in general. Sure, there's the deranged lunatic serial killer that lures young girls via Twitter, but it's pretty rare. But ask any Japanese woman if she's been molested on a train. I dare you. I am willing to bet you that more than half of them will say yes. And the ones that haven't will tell you about their friends who were. The Me Too movement has been slow to pick up in Japan, and tokusatsu along with the train perverts chicken remain big issues. In other words, Japan is safe, but it's a lot safer for men than it is for women. Thanks for watch video. Please subscribe my channel.